Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Tim in Green Bay. We got Carly joining us tonight in Wisconsin as well, here to talk some Packers. Of course, you know the accent here. We're down here in Tennessee, so you're stuck with me. That's just breaking news. Tennessee just got electricity. Give them a round of applause. Right? There you go. How's everybody doing today?
I'm good. I got some allergies rocking, so if you guys hear me sniffing. Hey, can I tell you what I was going to tell you before we went live?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I went to what's called a Five Guys. All right?
Yeah.
I got myself a burger and a small fry. Guess how much it was?
Oh,
$18.
That was going to be my guess.
Actual. What is that? It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was delicious. But what the is that?
Why are you complaining, Jake? It was
you
good.
Hurt me, bro.
Rolling in a dough over there.
It was good. I was shocked. I was actually shocked.
Was it that good? Did you overpay for good?
Oh, I see what you're doing.
That was really solid.
It was pretty good though. I think I overpaid for great, but yeah.
Heard it from a fan right here.
I see everybody's got green on this evening, so happy St. Patty's Day, right, to all my Irish brethren out there. I'm going to pretend like this is an important day to me, although it really isn't, to be honest with you. But we are rolling with the green Sprite tonight, all right? Hopefully y'all can.
You got hold to the wrong stuff.
2-0 for this says you have to pay all five guys. There you go. Exactly right. So, and if you guys are wondering where Emilio is, he's still down there in Puerto Rico, and just know this.
Jan almost everywhere.
That's Emilio right now. All right, so he's going to come back looking like his Mexican self. Why do you do this every time I go live?
Here's the guy.
No, it ain't. It's Mandy. It's not a guy. So,
hey, Mandy.
Tim said,
Hey,
Mandy's in here. That's nice. Hey, let me see that. Can I wear that?
What you get you? What you get
prop here? Here we go. This is good podcasting, right? What do we think here?
What is that?
Some would say it's great. Not me. Anyway, get that out of here for my.
Look like my first grade teacher, bro.
You just need a little more bronzer. That's all.
Exactly. All right. People already turned the podcast off. They already skipped ahead. I ain't got none of that in my hair, do I? We're good. All right. So let's jump into some news that I thought was kind of interesting. As Rob Demovsky put out an article earlier today. I think it was today. He tweeted it out about 9 hours ago. And listen, it goes into pretty good detail on Hobbs and that signing and all that good stuff. But the thing that I kind of took away from this article, and you guys go check it out. You can find it on my X feed there. I just quote tweeted Rob. He's got the link to the article in there. Make sure you go give it a click, a like, a retweet, all that stuff on his side. Don't worry about retweeting my tweet. But I said there's interesting info on Jaire Alexander with this article from Rob Demovsky. Quote, and this is quoted in the article. Okay, says the Packers are still trying to trade him, according to team sources and a source close to the player. So this is coming out of both camps, according to Rob Demovsky. Okay. They could wait indefinitely, but most likely would prefer to get something done before next month's draft. One source said the team has not approached Alexander about taking a pay cut, and even if it did, he would not be willing to do so. So it sounds like the team said, no, we haven't asked him to take a pay cut. And then on Jaire's side, it sounds like his camp, whoever Rob talked to there, that source said he's not willing to take a pay cut. So to me,
they don't call him John Money for nothing, right?
You got that right. So it's looking like, if these sources are correct, according to Rob Demovsky here, they're looking to try to wait till the draft, like we were talking about, right? Like, let's see if we can get something on draft night. If maybe a team, let's say their top corners on their board slip past them, right? Or they're taken above them, I should say. Then maybe they'll look to, oh, hey, look, let's go try to get Jaire Alexander. Now, I promise you, if there is a legit shot at Ja getting traded, I feel like you're going to hear some rumors leading into the draft. Now, also, if I'm the Packers and the team that's looking to trade for Jaire, if there is 1, 2, 12, however many teams, I imagine they want to keep it under wraps because they don't want to tip their hand with other teams in the draft that, hey, look, they may be looking to take a corner. If it don't fall just right, their backup plan is Jaire Alexander. So, again, I'm still holding out hope that anything less than a third-round pick, I would rather have Jaire on the roster. But it sounds like this is kind of the plan. Now, let's say nobody trades for him at the draft. It sounds like there's a legitimate shot that Goody would cut him if, after the draft, if indeed he decides, hey, look, we don't want to pay what's left on that contract. We'd rather just cut bait, free up the $6 to $7 million, and just kind of move forward. They probably do a post-June 1 cut, I would imagine. So it's probably going to be a little bit more money freed up than that. But let's go around the horn with that topic there. To me, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, this feels like new information, or at least a few more details behind the scenes that it sounds like both camps are looking to part ways. It seems like anyway. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll start with you, Jacob. What do you think, man?
Man, it makes it tough because, I've been back and forth on the jaw reports and all that. And just when I started listening to Tim and getting excited and thinking this is going to be a happy marriage, this does seem like new information. Tomovsky
Things could be a lot worse. I could be a Bears fan.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. I want to kind of believe that we could have him through, but I really do think that now this is, like you said, this is new information. This is kind of something that maybe it is weird though, because like, why did he reach out to Hobbs? What is going on? Like, why haven't they even tried to make any kind of contact as far as what we're being told for negotiations? Honestly, why not even just ask if he can take a pay cut? I mean, I'm pretty sure how that conversation would go, but the fact that we're not even attempting it is not a good sign in my opinion as well. I think this might bolster the opinion or the fact that Jaire Barron might look like that 23rd pick overall right now.
Tim, what do you think, man? Any does this sway your percentage any at all, or do you?
Nope.
How do you feel about this?
Nope. Still doesn't sway me. I'm still back in the 50-50 camp, I guess.
Right.
I don't think that this is like super new information. This isn't anything that we didn't already probably figure when it comes to Jaire. But I will say this. The closest I'll get to a prediction is we're not going to cut him. Like, we know the trade market is not as hot as maybe Jaire's camp wanted it to be, but I think there's teams that are willing to trade a pick, probably a pick that we're not satisfied with, but I think there's going to be teams that are willing to make a move for Jaire. So if they do, in fact, want to let him go, that's how it's going to happen. I don't see Goody just cutting him outright. I mean, I know it could save money on the cap and all that, but I don't see that happening. And I'm kind of leaning towards hopefully he sticks around and we see what he looks like in the secondary. That's just my thoughts.
And I'm trying to think of like precedent, right? Like when have we been in this situation where Goody was faced with, hey, let's try to trade him during the draft, and if we don't trade him, we'll be potentially cut him. I can't think of another situation. You know what I mean? So we are kind of in uncharted territory there, or waters, whatever you want to say. So it's a little, I don't know, it's a little iffy. I'm kind of with you. I think I would rather have him. And understand, guys, the majority of the guaranteed money is gone, right? So you're talking about being able to save money if he is not healthy and able to play, right? So you are gonna still save money if for some reason he isn't playing every single game. And if all you're going to get is a 5th round pick or free up $6 million in cap when you've got, plenty of cap space already, that's where I'm kind of like, yeah, let's try to hold on to him. But he could also say, I'm not playing for you. He hasn't said that yet. But if he does say that, then he kind of forces Goody's hand, But Carly, we haven't talked to you in a while. What do you think about this topic here?
So my understanding of his kind of like cap and pay situation was that he would be getting more guaranteed money if he's like at the beginning of this regular season. So it seems like it would be advantageous for the Packers. It seems like they have the leverage to just hang on to him and see what can be done. And then, they always have the option to release him, but I'd rather trade him for some picks. I don't think he's coming back.
Mm-hmm. So what would you put your percentage at, Carly, in terms of him leaving or staying?
Believe in what's going to happen or what I want to happen?
What you think, what you believe is going to happen. I think we all would agree we want Jaire on the team, right? I think we're kind of all there. What do you think will happen? What percentage?
Gosh, I would love to see Goody trade him on draft, actually. I think that would be great. And I think that's maybe about maybe 60%, 55? I don't know.
Oh, 65. Wow. Okay.
65%.
65%. That's what in terms of his contract, in 2025, he's got a $16.1 million base salary. And what I mean by that is, like, let's comparatively speak in terms of like the past years. In 2022, his base salary was only $1 million. In 2023, his base salary was only $1 million. In 2024, it was only $6.6 million. This year, it jumps to 16.1. So what you have is, from 2022 up through 2023, really those 2 years, you had mostly guaranteed money on the cap, right? And now it's kind of flipped. So that's why we say, like, that 16.1 million, however many games he misses, you're pretty much going to save roughly $1 million per game that he misses, a little less than that, actually. So his signing proration is $5.5 million. That's already been paid. Restructure proration was $2.3 million. They do have one voidable year after 2026 there in 2027. All 3 of those are a flat rate. All 5 of them were a flat rate of $2.3 million, essentially. And then you got a roster bonus that's only going to be $267,000 and a workout bonus of $700,000. So the guaranteed money's kind of already been paid out. You're not due any of that in a roster bonus or any kind of that form. So that's why I'm kind of looking at it like, if a fan is saying, hey, look, if he's not going to be healthy, I don't want him on the team. Okay, you can say that, but the guaranteed money's kind of done. So now you're going to get money back if he does miss games. So now
But I have a question, Clayton. I have a question though. If we're going to keep him, he's just taken snaps from some developmental players because Ja isn't a long-term option for our team anymore, I don't think. Do you?
He's under contract for 2 more years, this year and next year. And
Darnell Savage, he wasn't a viable option.
Right.
In for eternity.
Right. And who is he taking snaps from? That's the question, too. Are they a better football player than Jaire Alexander? That's the point where I'm at. Like, it's like, okay, is Carrington Valentine better than Jaire? No. I feel like Carrington's the best corner on our roster, in my opinion, outside of Jaire. Right? So now the question becomes, if the team and Ja can get together and be like, hey, yeah, let's play this year out and see how it goes, right? He's going to want to make every bit of that money he can in that salary form. Okay? He's an upgrade over every other corner on the team. Now the comparison or the cost analysis becomes, is it worth it to get rid of your best corner for a 5th round pick? And my answer is no to that. If it's a 3rd round pick, I'm thinking about it, right? I understand what you're saying. You are taking reps away from a younger player, but who is that younger player? And again, we don't know if the board's going to fall right to draft a corner. Like if you can guarantee me, and I know none of us can, that we're going to have Jaire Barron at the 23rd pick, I see exactly what you're saying, Carla.
I think a great example would be last season. Ja wasn't available the bulk of the season. We were all upset about that, and we didn't see Kalen King on the field. We drafted him last year. So I don't – I'm with you, Clay. I don't know who he's taking snaps away from necessarily.
Yeah, Chris in the chat says it's all about this guy's attitude. If it's all at all negative, like we know he can be shaky at best, doesn't matter, cut him loose. See, I didn't hear anything about a negative attitude last year, though. That's my thing. Did you, Jacob, do you remember anything about a negative attitude in the locker room last year?
I wouldn't say that I heard anything specific, but I guess that's maybe kind of the vibe that was being sent, is that he wasn't happy. The squad wasn't necessarily happy with him. I don't know, man.
Mostly at the end of the year, right? When he said he didn't have anything nice to say.
Exactly. Right.
So
that to me was more of like a summarization of what happened throughout the season, but I don't know anything for sure. I mean, I sit here and I would love to have Jaire back. I really would, especially when you compare to what he's making now in this contract that he's playing on existing compared to some of the guys that are getting signed for unbelievable money that have not had anywhere near the pedigree of what Jaire has done. And it sucks because, the guy can't stay healthy. And I think that's one of the toughest things when you ever have a high caliber player that's not performing. It's not because he's not good when he's on the field. When he's on the field, he's great. It's just that he's not there consistently. And that was, I think, his most frustrating. And I think it makes it easier for fans like myself to say, all right, cut bait, just cut bait.
That's a bigger reason than the attitude issue, I think.
Yeah.
It's availability.
I love his attitude. Tim, that's why we love Ja. It's because of his attitude. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I want that.
And his ability, like you said, when he's on the field. The biggest issue with Ja has been he's just, you can't make the club in the tub, right? Like the oldest saying in the book, right? You know, if you're not available, you're not available.
Yeah, Coach Lynn in the chat said, Ja's always been Ja. You take the good with the bad. At least he didn't pop off out the mouth at the end of the year. Like on his way out, it was, hey, I ain't got nothing good to say. You know, he could have said, all right, boys, you want the news? Get your microphones ready. But yeah, again, keep in mind, you know, people mentioned he was suspended. That was not last year. And according to the coaching staff, according to Ja, they turned a new page and moved forward. Again, I think it's more about the injury. If he had stayed healthy all year last year, we would not even be having this conversation.
Yeah. This is what I was referencing too. Did you guys see this? Derek Stingley Jr.
Yes.
is getting paid 30 per. Like, what?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I want to say, who was it they said? Darius J. Butler was talking about that earlier today and talking about the other corner. They see Stingley and this other guy as the top two corners in the league. So that's your new market set for the cornerback position, right? So again, that's why I don't prioritize corner. I just don't, man. I don't. So for me, it's all about 3-tech. It's about edge. It's about mock. It's about post safety. Do you want a Jaire in a solid corner? Absolutely, you do. But it's not the top priority in my opinion. And we'll see what happens with Houston.
Surtain. It was Surtain.
Surtain. There you go. Yeah. Drew D, 17 million a year would be a steal for any team that traded for Ja. That's very, very true, Drew. And again, it's not guaranteed, right? Like it's
look at this.
Yeah, 3 year, 90 million, 89 million guaranteed. That is wild.
That's crazy.
Wild. Yeah, we'll see how that works. Now, what's practical guarantee too? That's where you get into a little bit of, like, they could say guarantee, and it might be a roster bonus. 2 of the 3 years is a big chunk, and they could just cut bait and free up. That is not actually guaranteed, you know. So, but it may be all signing bonus. That could be it. When they say guaranteed at signing, that's typically okay. That's the signing bonus. So, anyway, so does anybody got anything else to add to the Jaire Alexander talk? Anything at all before we move? I thought we would just hit on that real quick. We good? All right, going once, going twice.
Love you, John. Love you.
Tim said, I'm still here.
I don't want to hear any of these haters cheering him on when he balls out and has an all-pro year for us. That's all I got to say.
Oh, Tim.
I don't want to hear it.
Dragged
him all off season. When he balls out, I don't want to hear it.
Well, I'm going to say this, Tim. When this guy comes into the fold and he balls out, I don't want to hear it either. Justin M., our good buddy here, friend of the program, go give him a follow at Justin M_NFL, said defensive back Robert McDaniel was the best prospect in attendance at the HBCU Combine. 6'2", 230. Y'all sensing the sarcasm yet? I was just joking. Tim's going, is Clayton serious? Do I really have to back him on this? 6'2", 213, 4.55 40, 38.5-inch vertical jump, and a 10-foot 8-inch broad jump. The reason I mention it, he met with 16 teams, one of which were the Green Bay Packers. And I couldn't remember if we had mentioned this before. Justin had DM'd this over to me with all the measurables and everything, so we tweeted it out. And you can obviously find more information on that over at the Draft Network. So just another player that's on Goody's radar.
Here's the guy.
That's right. So not a Ja, at least as of right now. But all right, next, Jordan Schultz, another friend of the program here. Arizona wide receiver and projected top pick Tet McMillan had his pro day today, where scouts in attendance clocked him at 4.48 40-yard dash. The 6'4", 219-pound first-team All-American had 24 NFL teams in attendance to watch him per a source. He didn't list what teams were in attendance, so we'll keep our ear to the street on, obviously, with our boy Easton Butler to see if he mentions that the Packers may have been there, and whether or not they met with him is the big thing. So, J. Cole confirming here. McMillan ran a 4.4. Guys, at a 6'4", 219-pound, that's pretty darn stout. And we've seen his ability to go up and make contested catches, all that. I almost hate talking about him, Jacob, because every time we talk about him, we've got to throw the preference out there that, he's probably not going to be around. So,
yeah, it's tough. I think the last thing that was maybe even a chance that he would fall to us is people claimed he was slow, that he didn't have the long stride speed to make it, but he's right there, like Prince was saying, top 10 for Tet. Like, there were rumors that he may go be a 4.6 guy. I even heard even a little bit higher than that. I mean, he doesn't look shockingly fast when you see him on film, but I swear it's because he's just so big. He's so long. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard to look as like Tyreek Hill when you're 6'4", 219. Like, it's just not going to be you're not going to look like a gazelle, you know? Now, I don't think that this is going to help us at all in our quest to get Mr. Tet. I don't think he's going to last that long. What was it, like 6 or 7 teams? I'd probably add a couple more now just with that testing. You know what I mean? Yeah. People that are like, we can't turn that down.
You still want to go corner in the first round, or you want to try and make a move at receiver?
I'm not sure, Tim. I definitely want to come around in the second and grab a wide receiver. One of the ones we've talked about. If it's not our guy Higgins, then maybe even Jalen, or I really am falling in love with Trey Harris, but that's for another story.
Yeah, I mean, we talked last night about Tet McMillan, right? Saying, like, you know, as long as he's like a sub 4.5 guy, shouldn't be an issue. And here he is, 4.48, right, in the 40s. So
right. Yeah. Yep. It's going to be interesting. I want to give a shout out to Ryan Schlip, who put this graphic together. And I snatched it here off of Twitter. If we could drop that comment down, I'll explain what this is here. Thank you so much, bud. So here's what we got. Is this chart obviously at the bottom, running from left to right, are your rounds. Okay, round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then running vertically on the left side are all the positions of players. So what he's done is kind of got a position distribution by draft round. Okay. So again, I don't know if he's done this based off of the past. I'm assuming that's what he did here, or if it's just projected on his current draft board, but it kind of shows you how many players at each position go in what round. Okay. And that's the way I'm understanding this chart. And somebody correct me if you guys see it differently. So edge defender leads the way in the first round with 7 players taken out of 32, right? And then behind that, there's 3 positions tied for second: wide receiver, defensive tackle, and offensive tackle. Okay. And then in the third spot, or at least, you know, the third number here, cornerback, usually there's about 3 taken in the first round. Safety, you've got 2. Trying to see here. It's kind of hard to see what that middle one is. I think that's running back 2, right? Tight end 2, and quarterbacks 2. So the moral of the story is, again, where are GMs seeing the most value, or seeing where they're like, okay, that's where we're going to spend our top pick at. It's edge defender, and then next is, and it's significantly lower, is wide receiver, 3 tech, and offensive tackle. Now, again, what are our tier 1 positions of importance? Edge defender, offensive tackle, 3 tech, and the only difference here is the only other position that we would have is quarterback, and it's significantly lower, which kind of caught me off guard after last year, obviously. So, again, I'm pretty sure he did it off past drafts and not his current draft board. But what do you guys think about that? I think this is a really cool heat map, I guess is what you would call it. Because in the second round, what do you see? It looks like you've got, a bunch of corners,
yeah,
6 corners, and 5 interior offensive line, 5 more edge defender. And the edge picks back up at 6 in the third round. That's how important it is, right? And then, of course, the big thing is look at wide receiver. Where are the majority of the wide receivers taken? Third round. And the reason I mention that is because we've been kind of talking about Jaden Higgins and some of these players, like, you know, Higgins is Tim's guy, obviously. And I've been looking at, you know, I kind of like Trey Harris. You know, could he potentially last to the third round? I thought this was very, very interesting. So what's your all's take on that, and kind of what's this is showing here?
Man,
when's the last time we took a corner in the first round? Stokes?
Stokes, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been Stokes. And then before that, it had been Kevin King, and then before that, it had been Jaire, right? Am I thinking right?
I think that's the last 3, yep.
Was Ahmad Carroll a first-round pick?
Mm-hmm. I had just become a Packer fan, and I went, oh, this dude's going to be awesome.
So, again, should we go corner in the first round?
Tim, you're killing me here, bro.
I'm just saying, I mean, we're talking Stokes. We're talking.
No, I agree.
King, we're talking Jaire. Everybody hates Jaire right now. So, I mean.
No, I mean, honestly, that is kind of where I'm like, I really am starting to figure. Because I personally, I'm in love with the James Pierce pick there. I just want somebody that can be an instant difference maker. I don't want any more project first rounders. I just don't. I want a guy that can come in and be an immediate impact player. I do think Jaire Barron is one of those guys that could be that, but I think I'd much rather go with an edge or a D tackle. What do you think?
To me, it's all about the board, man. How does the board fall?
Yeah.
If corner is the best player on the board, if Will Johnson's sitting there at 23 and he's hands down on 12 spot for us, hell yeah, run the card up there for a corner. Are you kidding me? He's the best corner in the draft. Think about it this way. Last year, if we got what's his name from Philly, not Cooper either. Everybody's golden white boy that they just
Mitchell,
Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell, one of those dudes, stood out the Senior Bowl. If you could have gotten a hold of him in the first round, we would not even be trying to slander potentially taking a corner in the first round. And what did they do? They double dipped. How'd that work out? I don't know. They got a Lombardi. You know what I mean? So, like, you got to take all these things into consideration. Now, they did a good job in prior years building the heck out of the trenches, on mainly on defense, but on offense as well. So, it just depends on the board to me. So that's my take. You guys keep going here.
Well, Clayton, I think that this board, you said you weren't sure about like whether it was based on history, but I think it's the prospected people like coming up in this draft, because with the QBs having just 2, they project to go in the first round. That would be Shador and Cam Ward, right? Mm-hmm. So I think this is what they are thinking is going to where people are going to fall.
Mm-hmm. That really does line up with the board I'm looking at right now on our draft board. So that's probably the information you got here for sure. So if they're saying there could potentially be 3 corners taken in the first round, since we're talking corner, if Travis Hunter is considered a corner, Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, Jahdae Barron, and then I got Siobhan Ravel Jr. in the 27 spot. And so I've got 4 that are worthy of a first round pick according to my board. So that makes sense in terms of quarterback. You're spot on, Carly. It's obviously Cam Ward and then Shador Sanders. And then when we look at 3 tech, or just defensive tackle in general, they're showing 4 on this if it is the current year. Mine is showing Mason Graham 1, Kenneth Grant 2, Walter Nolan 3, Derek Harmon 4, and we were out of the first round. There you go. So I think you're right, Carl. I think this is based off of this year's draft here. So this is just kind of a heat map of, all right, here is where everyone's projecting these prospects to potentially go. And again, some of these are going to be wrong. There's no doubt about that. But I just think it's interesting to kind of look at it globally, because what it suggests is, look, in the first round, if you want to get one of the top edges, you better go edge in the first round, right?
Yeah.
In the second round, it looks like your value is going to be there at corner. So what that would suggest is, where is the depth in the draft, essentially? Wide receiver is the big thing that sticks out to me. No reason to rush getting a wide receiver until the 3rd round, and that's probably the sweet spot. Now, if you get there in the 2nd round and you got someone that's significantly higher than everyone else on your board, and it makes sense, it lines up with the need, he's the best player available, pull the trigger. But that's kind of how I'm seeing it here. Tim, are you seeing it any different? Is that how you're kind of seeing this graphic here as well?
Yeah, I agree. And it kind of lends credence to what Jacob was talking about with James Pierce Jr., right? You know, like maybe in a perfect world, he's on the board at 23, or, you know, we make a move in that first round and we go edge early and, you know, get a guy with an extremely high ceiling, you know, right in that sweet spot with the physical attributes, the grades, the age, all the things Goody likes. Maybe you go and snag an edge right away. Personally, I'd like to go 3 tech receiver, 3 tech. That would be great in a perfect world in my eyes. But, you know, there's no guarantee that, you know, my guy Higgins will be there in the 2nd round either. So
right.
It's tough. Like Deadfish is saying here, defensive tackle, wide receiver, defensive tackle, right?
It's kind
in
of
a perfect world, right? Kenneth Grant,
Tim would die.
Deion Walker, let's go. Like,
Tim wouldn't be on the podcast for 3 days.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, you give me Kenneth Grant, Jaden Higgins, and Deion Walker. I'm a little, you guys know, and I'm a Kentucky guy. I'm a lot lower on Deion Walker than to take him there in the 3rd round. I kind of feel like I would feel better about it in the 4th, but it doesn't matter what I think, man. And it matters, you know, obviously what the scouts are saying. We might need to do a detailed scouting report on Deion Walker soon. And just a little teaser here, later on in the show, we've got 3 scouting reports queued up for who the Packers have met with Other than James Pierce Jr., we did not include that one, but we've got Colston Loveland, Kenneth Grant, and Jade Barron that we got Grok to give us a detailed scouting report of all three. And the reason we chose those three, like I said, is because the Packers met with all three of those, and they're sitting in the 15, 16, and 17 spot on our board, ironically. So anything else you guys want to talk about with this chart right here in terms of where the value is and maybe where you're kind of that roadmap to where you want to draft these guys? Anything at all? Good? All right. Yeah. Let's move along then. So we got our Ted McMillan talk in. Now let's move on to something we've been trying to get to the last few days, and obviously it's gotten away from me. I apologize for that. It's been crazy busy, and I'm finally getting back to responding to everybody's texts. Appreciate everybody reaching out. Patreon group's going good. We're going to start to put information in the Patreon group now. So it's going to be an article form where you can gather information. Like these scouting reports, they will be on the Patreon group for everyone to read. Also, the website is almost up and running. I got a guy on that. So we will have PackersTotalAccess.com, which will be a website where you can go find the channel, find all the links, and get all of this information in article form there as well. So we're going to start to spill into that little area of sports commentary, I guess you could say. But Jacob Westendorf over at Sports Illustrated, all right, he's a great follow on Twitter. Go check him out. Here was his recent mock draft, and this really gets me excited to think: what if Will Johnson fell to the Packers at 23?
Here's a guy
absolutely awesome. So he took Will Johnson with the 23rd pick there in this mock draft. What are you guys thinking about Will as we've got him in the 12th spot? You're talking about great value there. I don't expect him to last that long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's kind of what Respect Orange is saying. Willie Johnson, come on, man. Like, I just don't think he's one of those guys that I haven't given enough research into because I just don't feel like it's going to happen. It's like right. I'd have to have the luckiest luck ever to get that guy to fall. If he did, oh my Lord, I'd be running. I'd be doing the Leo DiCaprio jog. You know what I mean? When you're walking up, like I'd be so happy. That'd be amazing.
Tim, what do you think about Will Johnson? Would you be on board with that?
Yeah, I would not be upset at all. Like if we went corner in the first, he's there. We took him. Yeah, I'm good with that for sure.
Got it. Carly, what about you? Any comments on the Will Johnson pick at 23? You're muted, Carly. So angry.
She went rats.
Exactly.
I'm just scared of taking a corner in the first round just because of our history. I don't think we're very good at it. I think we should probably stick to something we can evaluate better, maybe.
All right, there you go. So Will Johnson, again, in the 12th spot for us. In 2022, he was the 12th highest graded cornerback. He dropped to 113, then dropped to 114, according to PFF. However, the PFF big board somehow, some way, had him as the sixth best prospect, along with the consensus big board having him in the sixth spot. Daniel Jeremiah had him at 12, which is where he lands on our board. 33rd team had him at 2. Dane Brugler had him at 13. To the best of my knowledge, they haven't had their pro day yet. So his score is a 17.3, putting him in the 12th spot for us. So next pick here, actually, Drew D says, first of all, I'm just worried about Will Johnson's injuries. He had a shoulder and now a hamstring. Drew, do you know when was his most recent injury? Which one of those? Was it this past year? Because we have no red box on him, and I would love to go ahead and highlight that red if we could. Let me know in the chat, and Jacob, you'll keep an eye out for that comment to come through. So again, Will Johnson, he's an outside corner out of Michigan. I would be ecstatic if he fell to the Packers, barring any crazy injury concern like what Drew's saying. So round 2, I don't know if Tim will be on board with this or not, but Jacob Westendorf drafted wide receiver Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State.
He was the best guy around.
Yeah, there's a little bit of steam behind this Jaden Higgins hype, isn't there, man?
You know what? I'm done. I'm done talking about it. I don't want to jinx it. You know.
Yeah. To that point, I think Jake's
I'm over Jaden Higgins. We don't want him.
Yeah. Tim might be onto something here. Jake says, Jake Shavink NFL says, I might be nuts, but I think Will Johnson at 23 is more possible than Jaden Higgins at 54. And I don't want to agree with that, but I do. It stinks. We got to shut up about it, dude.
Yeah, I'm not talking about him anymore. Let's talk about Jack Bash.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. It's listen, Jaden Higgins is interesting to me. Like I've got Trey Harris in the 45 spot. and he's the one that I like. If he falls to the second round, if he lasts to us in the second round, and it comes down to Trey Harris or Jaden Higgins, I personally would like Trey Harris. That's just me. Again, he's in the 45 spot on our big board. Jaden Higgins is in the 53 spot. So the big difference between those two receivers is Trey Harris the last 2 years has graded better. He graded better than Jaden Higgins in 2023, being the 16th highest graded receiver. Jaden Higgins was 28th. And then, of course, Trey Harris jumped all the way to 6th this past year, but Jaden Higgins leapfrogged him to 4. Okay. The 33rd, or I'm sorry, the PFF big board had Jaden Higgins at 54. They had Trey Harris at 86. So right now it looks like Jaden Higgins should be higher than Trey, right? Well, Trey Harris on the consensus big board was in the 44 spot. Jaden Higgins was all the way down to 81. Daniel Jeremiah does not have Jaden Higgins or Trey Harris in his top 50. That's no surprise. 33rd team has Jaden Higgins at 79, or had him at that spot. They had Trey Harris at 48. Dane Brugler had Trey Harris at 68, and he had Jaden Higgins at 48. So they're just kind of leapfrogging each other. Every column you go to, it's like they're flipping. So they're fairly close together. And I believe they both scored a 9+ RAS. So they're very similar in that regard. For me, I think it's more about the competition. Trey Harris playing at Ole Miss, they're in the SEC. And then, of course, Jaden Higgins playing at Iowa State. Like who I would love to see who was on his schedule the last couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Like, who does Iowa State typically play other than Iowa? I mean, are they in the Big Ten? I don't even know. I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to Big Ten football.
No.
What conference is Iowa State in?
God, that's like the Sun Belt or something like that. Jake Shavank in the chat should know this. Okay. Hit us up.
Because I'm looking for cluster busters. You know what I mean? I'm looking for these things that kind of differentiate one from the other, because they just keep teetering back and forth. But again, Trey Harris, his grade, Big 12. There you go. Which is there actually 12 teams there now? I don't know.
The Big Ten's got like 84. So who
right,
knows?
Exactly. So Trey Harris here we go. Trey Harris 80+ grades the last 2 years were against Furman, Middle Tennessee, Georgia Southern, Mercer, Tulane, and Texas A&M. No, there are no powerhouses there. That's for sure. So his grade on our board is a 46.3. Jaden Higgins is a 51.3. So that would put him just one tier lower than Jaden Higgins. Now, what it's going to come down to for me is hopefully Greg Cosell will break down receivers pretty handily. I'd love to see who Greg Cosell likes more. That would be awesome. I wish Greg Cosell would put a top 100 board out. I would be all over that. I would pay an embarrassment of riches to see his top 100 board. So, Carla, you got anything to add to the wide receiver talk here in terms of Jaden Higgins being in the second round there?
I like people from Iowa because I'm from Iowa. Not originally from Wisconsin.
There you go. And I'm the opposite. Every time somebody graduates from Kentucky, I'm like, I don't know if we should take him, because I know how people are in Kentucky. There you go. Which we know these prospects aren't from Kentucky. They're coming from like California and stuff, right? And then settling in Kentucky. So, all right. Next, third round, he went Jordan Birch, edge defender out of Oregon. All right. This one kind of caught me off guard. Let me look at the board real quick. Actually, we got Jordan Birch in the 72 spot. So that's a pretty darn good value, because the third round, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, ain't that pick 87? Am I thinking right? So we get the 72nd best prospect on our board with the 87th pick. I'd be on board with that. But what do y'all think about Jordan Birch? Anything you'd like to add to that?
6'6", 295.
I was gonna say he's a big boy, right?
He's an edge.
He's an old dog, though. Goody DiCaprio factor. He'll be 24.
Uh-oh.
There you go. Right there. Jacob, what do you think about Jordan Birch, man? And here's Coach Lynn. Birch could play inside and outside on the D-line. That kind of sounds like Chris Jones a little bit.
Ooh. I'm not the biggest fan of Birch, but what the heck do I know? In the third round, I'd much rather. I think I would have rather had an edge in the first round and try to grab some sort of corner in the third. I know it's kind of tough to see in this year's draft. Like, I really do like guys like O'Donnell Fortune or certain other kind of like maybe like sleeper type cornerbacks that we could maybe get. I like Jordan Birch. I do. It's just, I don't think that at that area of the draft, I don't feel comfortable getting him there.
Mm-hmm. Got it. All right. King Tron with the super chat, $2 for the Goot DiCaprio pick. Howdy, yo. I appreciate it, Tron. Appreciate it, man. Obviously, I spent a lot of time putting that Photoshop together. Look how clean that is, right?
Oh, great, right there. Hey, Jacob, I agree with you, though. It's not so much Jordan Birch. It's going edge in the third round and then going D tackle or D lineman. You know, CJ West, we like CJ West, but I wonder if we went D line in the third, if we could do a little better.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting what SDM40 says here too. I think mock exercises for this year has shown cornerback runs out after the second. Bagut has found gems. Both are good points, I think. And in this mock right here, obviously he went corner early. We kind of talked about that. Like if you get to the second and third round, not that there's not good football players there. You just find other players that are ranked significantly higher, right? And again, let's go back to that heat map real quickly. This might be a good little exercise, just real fast. When we look at corner, what rounds? All right. So they're showing you only 3 in the first round, 6 in the second. And then after that, 2 in the third, 7 in the fourth. So there might be a little pocket there. The fifth, there is hardly anyone, just 1. Then you get back to 6 there in the 6th round, and then 5 in the 7th. So yeah, it kind of looks like once you get past the 4th round, you're probably, you better have gotten one of your guys there, you know. So I think that's a really cool tool. I'm glad that Ryan tweeted that out. CJ West in the 4th round, Jacob Westendorf takes here. CJ West on our board. Take a quick gander here. We have CJ West. I got to get rid of these periods in this. We got him in the 106 spot. And this would be, pick 124? Every one of these are great picks according to our board. It's pretty wild. So, what do y'all think about CJ West out of Indiana?
I love CJ West, to be honest. I don't know what Tim thinks. 6'2", 317, big old boy there. What's cool too about him is when you look at just his last year. Well, first of all, 2022 80.1, 2023 85.9, 2024 83.8. When you look at this last year, his best games were against Maryland, Washington, Michigan, Purdue, Notre Dame. Didn't do too well against Ohio State, but you know what I mean? Like he shows up in big games, which I think is kind of a big thing to have. I don't know. I don't have an age for him because PFF likes to screw with me like that, but I don't know where he lines up on the Goody scale but you know, well, I personally really like that pick.
Definitely a versatile dude, right? Probably can play the 1 and the 3.
That's what coach is saying here too.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. A TJ Slayton replacement possibility right here. Again, like I don't have any problem with CJ West. I'd like to go a little earlier with D line, like 1st round or 3rd round. But if we're picking at 4, you know, round 4 here, like Clayton's saying, early hundreds, I think you can do a lot worse than CJ West for sure.
Yeah, he actually played A-gap predominantly in 2022, 322 snaps versus 58 in B-gap. He swapped that in 2023, 384 in B-gap, 74 in A-gap, and then this last year, 219 in A-gap, B-gap was 198. So he is very versatile.
I mean, he's no Deion Walker, but he is over 6 feet and he's over 300 pounds and he's versatile. So I do like him. Yep.
I'm asking Grok right now, see if it knows his age. This is weird. Why is it so hard to find his age? Does anybody have
the weirdest thing?
Yeah, here we go. As of March 17, 2025, that would make him approximately 23 years old. So he's 23, according to this. All right, there you go. Carly, anything to add to CJ West talk here?
No, but I was looking him up on your guys' board, and at 115 we have Anthony Johnson Jr. Is this like some weird episode of Groundhog's Day, or what's going on with that?
Do you notice his name is lit up in the red too? We did respect for Tim. We know Tim was a big Anthony Johnson Jr. guy, so we were like, Tim, we got another shot here. We got another
one here for you.
Exactly. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll continue with this analysis here, and we got a bunch of other things in store as well. Like I said, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. We appreciate y'all.